What's going on, everyone? Happy Tuesday to everyone. Hopefully everyone is doing well, staying safe, healthy. If you had to take a COVID test, hopefully you have tested negative. If you did test positive, I hope you have a full and speedy recovery with no long COVID issues. It is time now for the Tuesday edition of the Pandemic Update for Tuesday, March 5th, 2024. If you're new to my channel, this is where we do the daily pandemic update on all things COVID and any other virus that could be a threat to you. Let's face it, there's a lot of viruses spreading out there, and when you're out in the public, you could catch one of them, and that's a threat to your health. So here, we try to keep you informed on what's going on COVID and those other viruses. If you want to help keep yourself and others informed, give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel down below, and by all means share this video with anyone you know so we can help keep as many people as possible safe and informed. Alright, we do have quite a few things to get through today. Some things which I think are relatively important, so we'll do the news first. We'll do some data, which includes new data from Walgreens. We're also going to take a look at some states on wastewater, and of course we'll take a look at some regular states that we usually look at, including one we have not looked at in quite some time, and that is Florida. Hopefully we can look at Florida. Sometimes their website just freezes up on us. Quick note about the pandemic update. It is going to be earlier for the next couple days. It's going to be coming in the morning. I'm going to be doing my days in reverse. And I want to do data-filled updates the next several days. So they will be earlier. So you may see a notification, if you have that notification bell hit, where the update comes out in the morning versus the afternoon. So be mindful of that. All right, starting off today. Remember the CDC made a change with its guidance on isolation? Well, the White House is now making a change as well. That changes if you're going to be in contact with President Biden, guess what? You will no longer need to test. Let's read on a little bit more. Washington, Associated Press. The White House on Monday lifted its COVID-19 testing requirement for those who plan to be in close contact with President Joe Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, and their husbands and wives. Yeah, this is a real thing. It's one of the last protocols that was in place at the White House, and that is now going to get changed. All right, moving on to this now. This is relatively interesting. Fan fears for Taylor Swift after she struggles through Singapore's show. I mean, let's face it. She's constantly in the news. She's constantly out and about. There was the whole football thing with her and Travis and the stadiums. She's doing all these concerts, everything. She's had a lot of exposures to not only just COVID, to anything that is out there at this time. Therefore, it was only a matter of time until she got sick, and I think we have enough reason to believe that she may be sick right now. Let's read on. Taylor Swift fans have been left with concerns about her health after the American pop star struggled through a recent concert in Singapore. And if we scroll down here, it says, in a video shared on social media, Swift is seen repeatedly coughing and clearing her throat as she sang the song Delicate for a 55,000 strong crowd in the Singapore's National Stadium. One fan says, hope she's okay. She's been coughing, the social media user captioned their video. Yeah, this is not good. She continuously coughing through doing one of her songs. That's not good. I know that feeling. I've been through it before. So we have to question, does she have COVID? Does she not have COVID? Does she have something else? Leave what you believe down below in the comments section. I'm curious to know what your take is on this. All right, latest measles alert hits Sydney Airport. That's right, there is now a measles alert at the Sydney Airport. If you want to read more on this, this is a story that I did tweet out. We're not going to go through all these different exposure times and places. It would take up way too much time, and we got a lot of things to get through. So you can check that out on my Twitter or Blue Sky, where I did tweet that out. Moving on now, COVID, strep throat, and flu cases led to 3 days off for Williamsburg students and staff. And I believe this is not Virginia. I think this might be Kentucky. Let's read on. Williamsburg in Whiteley County has an independent school district that's not uncommon in Kentucky. Yeah, it's saying Kentucky. What is unusual is that there are 850 students from preschool to high school all attend classes in one building, making it easier to spread COVID. Yikes, that's not good. The flu and strep throat, superintendent said. It's not just students suffering from that trio of illness, it's also staff, and it says here, what we have, I would say on average about 10 teachers out per day. For the last 3 weeks, I've been watching our students' attendance, and last week we were just on a steady decline. Surprise, when you allow it to spread, eventually it's going to happen in your school as well. All right, moving on to this. I did take a little poll last night, as I often do. 555 votes on this one. Poll, do you feel safe being out in public right now? Just a mere 9.2% said yes. 90.8% say no. All right, moving on now. In case you did not see yesterday, there were 1,652 COVID deaths added this week, on top of 1,000 new flu deaths. What does that equal? 2,652 deaths just from COVID and flu in the past week. Yep, that number is not very good. All right, let's take a look at today's air quality, and you will see the air quality across the country. It's going to be something that we're going to be probably seeing daily. Some days will be worse than others. Texas, bad air quality today, and some of that skips over Arkansas for some reason and makes its way into Tennessee, Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio. Why? It's because of the wildfires. West Coast, it's fireplace season still, so you do have spotty areas in the West Coast that are seeing bad air quality, and again, the Southeast, there's some bad air quality as well. All right, moving on now. Philadelphia yesterday had 823 EMS calls. We thought it may go up or spill over from the burbs because Philadelphia suburbs had a busy day yesterday. So 823, yes, that is a concerning number. Let's do a live look-in at the burbs, and let's refresh this. We can see in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, we see stroke, we see a whole bunch of different calls at this time, and coming over to Chester County. But before we do that, this was just before the pandemic update was started being recorded. 9:51 a.m. Look how many sick person calls there were in Chester County, Pennsylvania. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different sick calls at once in Chester County, Pennsylvania. So, yeah, that's not a good thing. Let's see what's going on there right now. And we still see, wow, multiple sick person calls, falls, unresponsive person, stroke. That's not a good thing. Diabetic emergency. So there are calls to be had right now in Chester County, Pennsylvania. All right, drum roll please. Let's take a look now at the new update from Walgreens this week. And the national positivity. It continued to drop, but there's concerns with this. It's down to 13.9%. Prior week was 17.4%. It's down by 3.5%, but you have to remember, this is a big country, the United States. Only 2,595 people got tested versus 3,071. That has actually led to some states rising in positivity. And we also have another problem still. There's a lot of states not reporting. Oregon, Nevada, Utah, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, South Dakota, North Dakota, Iowa, Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, Connecticut, all not reporting this week. And look at this, there's more. Alaska and Hawaii, all not reporting any testing this week from Walgreens. I would like to think someone got tested in those states, but hey, there's none showing up here, so yeah, that's not good. All right, let's take a look at some states that did. Let's start off with New York State. New York State's positivity rate, 10.6%. The prior week was 21.1%. That's down 10.4%, and testing's down as well, 66 versus 76. And you can see here, that was a rapid drop. So yeah, that's legitimate, because when you have testing down and positivity rate down, that means it's a legit drop. However, we come over to Ohio. 14.3% positivity this week versus the prior week, which was 9.6%. That is up 4.7%, but it's a product of testing. Testing was down. 63 total tests versus 73, so therefore, obviously, the positivity did go up. How about Pennsylvania? Pennsylvania, 13.2% positivity this week. The prior week was 17%. Difference of down 3.9%. 38 tests versus 47. Testing's down, positivity's down. That's a good thing. But remember, on all this data here, it's a very small sampling of what's actually going on. Wastewater suggests that we're somewhere between 600,000 and 775,000 cases a week in the United States still. So remember, this is just a small sampling of data. Maryland's positivity rate, now this is not a good one. 16.1% this week. The prior week was 10.3%. That's up 5.8%. And very small number of testing, 31 versus 29. we could say cases might be rising, and plus, it's just a small sampling of testing. Let's come down to another state that's rising. And taking a look here at Alabama, 21.7% positivity for COVID this week. Prior week was 14%. That's a difference of up 7.7%. But again, testing is down 46 versus 57. Small amounts of testing. And yeah, it's likely their cases are likely dropping. It's just the testing. It's just not that great. And Mississippi is even worse at this time. 17.4% versus 15% the previous week. Difference of up 2.4%. But again, such a small amount of testing, though it did increase by a mere 3 tests. 23 versus 20. So in this case, it may be a rise in cases, but such small testing. Let's go out to the West Coast. California, we do see some red here. 15% positivity versus 14.3%, up by 0.7%. In a state that has millions of people, they did a whopping 20 to 20 versus 21 tests. Yeah, it's one less. Okay, again, you are not testing enough. Let's check on Washington. Washington, 13.3% this week. The prior week was 22.2%. Difference of down 8.9%. And testing is down 15 versus 18. Small amount, but it is a legit drop. Since we're going to try and look at Florida later on, in case we can't get Florida, let's see what they're doing at Walgreens. 16.8% this week. The prior week was 18.5%. Difference of down 1.7%. 322 total tests versus 378. That is a legitimate drop. All right, let's take a look at some wastewater. And here's State College, Pennsylvania, University Park, where Penn State University is, the Penn State Nittany Lions. Anywho, COVID at this time, it's low, and it is dropping. RSV, overall trajectory, has been higher, so that's something that we are concerned about. Influenza A is high. Looks like it may be dropping on the most recent update after a rise. Influenza B, wow, rapidly rising at this time, and it is at high levels. HMPV dropping at this time. Norovirus, look at this. Norovirus has been rising, and there is a detection at this time of Mpox. But again, norovirus, wow, it is relatively concerning at this time. All right, moving on. I wanted to go up to the great state of Vermont at this time. Let's see what's going on up in the Montpelier area. That would be interesting to look at. I want to see if norovirus is rising up here. First off, COVID is high and stable at this time. RSV is dropping at this time. Influenza A is high but dropping. Influenza B is starting to rise again. And take a look at norovirus. It had a rapid rise. It slowed a little bit. It's still rising. Wow. And look how many pathogens there are. Yeah, that's not good to see that much norovirus. And look at this. We're also seeing a detection of Mpox back on February 13th. I express caution, though, with this Mpox case. There have been issues with wastewater scans showing Mpox at every site from time to time. So I don't know why it's doing that, but it's been doing that. Let's just do a couple more wastewater sites. In fact, no. Correction. Let's just do one more wastewater site. And how about we come down here to North Parker, Colorado, and we'll take a look at this site. COVID, it's coming up high, but it's really low on the chart, so I don't know why it's saying high. Medium for RSV, and that's dropping. Influenza A is dropping. Slight rise right now for Influenza B. That is back in high levels. And norovirus is dropping at this time. That is good to see. And again, yes, I think there is an issue with Mpox showing up at the majority of these wastewater sites. All right, moving on now to some CDC data. And when we take a look at the CDC for wastewater, they're showing on this map here very high levels still in a number of states in the southeast United States. All right, moving on to the next set of CDC data. Actually, you know what? Let's skip over this because that did not actually update the hospital data. Deaths in the past week, they are down by 8.7%. That is good to see. Hospital admissions, 17,310. That's down by 10.3%. And this, again, is for COVID. I should mention that. Very important to mention. Taking a look now at what is going on with the epidemic status in the United States. And let's start off with COVID first. It's only likely growing in Idaho at this time. And when we take a look at what is going on with flu, It's growing or likely growing in a number of states, and that's not good, especially along the I-80 corridor. Look at this. And when you get to the Midwest, you see several states where flu is growing at this time, so that is not good to see. Varying proportions. The JN.1 leads at 92.3%. JN.1.13 is now at 3.3%, and JN.1.18 is at 1.8%. Those are the two variants that we have to keep an eye on going forward. All right, now let's take a look at New Jersey. And New Jersey hospitalizations for COVID, they're at 526. And you can see here, 68 out of 70 hospitals reported. We're not seeing a real rapid drop here anymore. In fact, it hit a little bump in the road at the end of February, which was to be expected because there was that little bit of a bump that many places in the country took. It is starting to drop again, and I think it will continue to drop in New Jersey. On a ventilator, 26 people. In the ICU, 65 people in the ICU at this time, and New Jersey had 70 discharges yesterday. We don't have New York State in yet. It's early, but we can go over yesterday's number. 980 people tested positive, and New York State for hospitalizations, I have to zoom this in so you can see it, and New York State hospitalizations yesterday, 1,047, and 132 people in the ICU. We'll have an updated number on that tomorrow. All right, drum roll, please. Let's try for Florida at this time. Let's see if we can get Florida's data and see what is going on in Florida. COVID-19 cases in Florida. We're in luck. We did get it. It looks like so far this year they have had reported, mind you, Wastewater would suggest much higher number, 120,841 cases. And we will try and get the death total for Florida as well. And look at that. It came up. And so far this year, 1,634 deaths. Am I seeing that correctly? Yes. Wow. Already 1,634 deaths in Florida this year. That's quite a few people that have died just, 3 months and 5 days into the year. That's just absolutely terrible that Florida has they just allow their viruses to run rampant. I mean, every state is doing it right now, but I think Florida's up there at the top of the list with just not caring. I mean, we see what's going on with the measles outbreak there, so it is not good. Alrighty, folks, that does it for today's pandemic update. We'll have another pandemic update again. It'll be in the morning tomorrow, so be mindful that, actually, no, tomorrow might be an afternoon update. We'll have to see how it goes. I get my next round of injections tomorrow, so that's going to be scheduled for, I believe, 11 o'clock in the morning. So tomorrow will be an afternoon update. Then Thursday and Friday, I believe, are going to be morning updates. All right, I'll see you all again next time. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe to my channel down below. If you want to help keep more people informed, by all means, share this with anyone you know. If you have a comment on any of the stories or data that you saw today, by all means, leave a comment down below, especially that Taylor Swift one and the president. Yeah, you won't have to get tested to have contact with the president anymore. How silly is that? It's just totally ridiculous. All right, I'll see you all again tomorrow. Until I see you again tomorrow, stay safe, everyone, and have a fantastic Tuesday. Thanks for watching.